So guys, first of all, we have already, like I have already explained you yesterday or previous class, that this batch will cover your F5 Advanced WAF. Okay, myself with it, everyone has known, so I will not go with introduction. Maybe at the end of the class, I'll do it. And this will help you to grow in your security field. Or I can say this batch or this course will help you to become good in cyber security. At least it will give you a start and it will help you to grow in application security. Nowadays, everyone is using web application. When you access any website, that will be on layer 7. So this batch will be your weekend class every Saturday, Sunday, guys. It will be only on weekends. And for any doubts, you can reach out to me Monday to Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. IST. And this course will help you to work in any production environment. Plus, you will able to clear any interview related to WAF. And the market value for this technology is very, very high. Demand, if I say, if you are good in F5 LTM, plus you are doing this, plus you are good in firewalls, plus routing switching, and little bit good on cloud security. It will be a best combo in current market, guys, because cyber security engineers are very less in market. Or I can say people are good in network field, but they are not good in security or maybe firewalls or maybe cyber security. People must have heard about CEH. That is also a good course, but if you do by your own, many people will clear certification not by own. Same way, this also comes under your WAF, application security. Fourth thing, guys, you can reach out to me. We have many people in our group. They are a working professional from different field. So I would expect everyone to help each other. So that's what I wanted to tell you. This I was introduced in first class also. But if someone has missed, so this is how our course will designed. Now, if I talk about lab architecture. So in lab, guys, because that is important, you need a laptop. We'll be doing in personal laptop. If you have a new laptop, then 4 GB RAM is enough. If you have 1 to 2 years or 3 years, then you can try with 4 GB RAM, assigning to F5, but at least you should have 8 GB or 12 GB RAM. Mostly it will work with 4 GB RAM if you assign to F5, but better is your laptop should be at least 8 GB. And why I am suggesting to do labs in your laptop is, guys, because it will help you. You can turn on any time. That is very, very important. Now, if I come across further, what will be our images which we need to download? For that, I'll be sharing my screen. And in my WhatsApp group, I have shared you everything, but just 1 minute, I'll be sharing that screen so that I can tell you which images are required. Just 1 minute, I'm just opening WhatsApp group. So yesterday also I shared that in the group. Just 1 minute. So that images are important to do lab. So that I am just telling you, just 1 minute more. Okay, guys, now I'm sharing my screen. So people who have already done F5 LTM from me, they don't need anything else. They just need to enable WAF module that I'll show you. Instead of LTM module, you have to enable WAF module. So if I just log in to my F5, anyways, I'll tell you from scratch how to create a lab, but I'm just telling you where you need to enable. So just log in. See, my license will get expired in 2 days. So I need to renew it. That I'll show you. But where you need to go? You need to go to resource provisioning. Here, previously, if you have done classes from me, we have enabled this module. Now in WAF, we will enable this. So just wanted to tell you this question people have. So LTM or ASM, or it can be say WAF, or if I say GTM, or if I say APM, that works on same operating system, that is TMOS, and these are module. So basic architecture is on TMOS architecture. So that is the operating system used in F5. Only thing which are different is these are separate module. This will act as your load balancer. This will act as your security module. This one is for DNS and this one is for SSL VPN. So that's why it's very easy, like which module you need to refer. So right now we are doing WAF or ASM. So F5 now has given it name as F5 Advanced WAF, or some people will say ASM. So what is the full form? ASM is called Application Security Manager, and WAF is called Web Application Firewall. So that is the difference. In F5, this is termed as ASM. So it is called F5 Big IP. That is the name which has been given to it. Okay. And they work on same operating system. So same operating system means if I talk about management IP, if I talk about license part, operating system would be same. So when I talk about license part, maybe customer only wants to use LTM. In that case, you have to only provision LTM module. But if you want to use WAF, then you have to provision WAF. And you have to ask F5 to give you license for both. So once we enable, I'll show you how to enable license. How to get free license that I have told you, but not an issue that we will discuss again. Now, let's go further on. When I talk about WAF module, so only thing you just need to go to F5 and just enable ASM module. That's it. Now, which images you have to download? Here you have to download this PHP image and this big IP. These two images you need to download. You don't need RGB server or XP image. You can use it for LTM, but for our lab, we'll be using these two images. That is PHP and big IP. So that will be OWA image. And what you need a software, if you are on Windows 10, if your laptop you are using Windows 10, then you should download VMware Workstation 15. So that's what I'm using right now. So this is my workstation. So I'm using workstation 15 Pro because my laptop is Windows 10. If you are on Windows 11, then you should use workstation 16.2.3. Okay, that is very, very important. Now, oh, that's the thing. First is you download this VMware workstation, then you have to import F5 OVA image, and you have to import PHP auction. That two image you have to import. I'll show you, not an issue, and we will do lab from scratch. So I was just telling so that you can at least download today. So that is the thing. Now, what I will say is this was about this. You just click here, just click on download. That's it. And then just click download. That's two things which you have to do. Other things I'll be telling you how to import it. And the third thing you have to download VMware Workstation. That's the three things which you need as of now. Later on, you might need one or two image, but that we will discuss later on. But right now you need only these three images. Now let's go further on. So this one I have discussed that this program will help you how to detect the attacks and how to remove the attacks or prevent the attacks. So which I am talking about, guys, when I talk about WAF or advanced WAF, we are talking about layer 7 attack detection and prevention. So when I talk about WAF, WAF works on layer 7 that is specially designed to prevent HTTP related attacks. Okay, so that anyways, we will see what are the different attacks which come into the. So if I talk about in internet, so F5 WAF protects from OWASP top 10 attacks. That is the main agenda of this F5 Advanced WAF. So WASP top 10 are the top critical attacks which is being in your web application layer. So this is the team which detects overall your whole environment and they give you what are the OWASP top 10 attacks. And our WAF can protect it from it. That is how it is designed. So when we go slowly into the course, you will come to know what are OWASP top 10 and how it prevents. That is our agenda. Now let's go further on where I'll talk about. So this course is suitable for both your security and network. So here we'll be talking about deployment from scratch. If you get F5 from scratch, how you can deploy in your industry. Or let's say if you get a WAF deployment from scratch, how you can deploy. Then we will talk about fine tuning. That is very critical in WAF. So fine tuning means Sometimes WAF can block legal attacks also. Means legal request. I cannot say legal attack, means legal traffic, which is not an attack. So we need to fine tune in such a way that it should not block false positive. And we will also talk about day-to-day maintenance. If any issues comes on, how we can check, how we can troubleshoot. So that is all we will been doing it, because that will be our environment, how that is built. Now, further on, the exam version which you have to clear after this will be 303. But there is a prerequisite, guys. You have to clear F5101 and 201 before giving this exam. So there is no dependency of LTM in this course. But for exam, guys, you need to be good in LTM. That is called load balancer module in F5. And trust me, guys, if you are certified in this technology, this one, you will be in top 20,000 in world, guys. There are very less engineers who are certified in this module, because I know personally that very less engineers are in market who are good in this field. So you need to be, that's why I'm suggesting, be good in this field. Many people don't know the capability of this. I am saying again and again to you guys, previously also on previous class, I have told you. Always, it's not like that you will have a dumps here for this. No valid dumps are available. Even we don't prefer that, guys. And second thing, guys, no setting is there. Like other certification, you might have cleared it with someone else or something, but here there is no setting. So that's why it is in demand. So in this whole course agenda, guys, we'll be covering 12 modules, and total duration will be 26 to 30 hours. And the four terms which you need to learn from here is that whole combination which has come in market now is WAP. So what does it contains? So WAP means you need to learn web application firewall. You need to be good in DDoS. You need to be have knowledge of API security. And fourth one is moat defense. So it's a total combination package. So it covers your WAF plus API security. Nowadays, most of the applications are using API, so you should have at least knowledge on what is API. And this package will help you to grow in application security field. That is the main agenda. So anyways, this I'll not go today again. You can check from my YouTube video, day one, because anyways, you will get this course content I'll be sharing you, but we'll be covering 12 modules. So these are the agendas which we will do. We'll talk about web application security. We'll talk about OWASP top 10. What is OWASP top 10? Then we'll talk about vulnerabilities. So this WAF, if you need to be good, you should know what is vulnerabilities. Many people have seen VAPT, that is called Web Application Vulnerability Assessment and Penetration Testing. But that we will come to know how and how we can provide. Then we will talk about deployment modes. How WAF is deployed in a current market. That is very, very important. Nowadays, because applications are all web-based. So that is why you need to be good in web-based. You need to know how to protect your web application. That is very, very important. And you also need to see where your WAF fits in your current environment. In your current topology, where it's your WAF fits. That is very, very important. And capabilities. Main thing is you need to know the capability of WAF. Okay. Now, guys, let's further go on. Also, we will talk about how to create layer 7 policy. And one thing more which I want to tell guys, you should know what is virtual IP, what is pool, and what is pool member. Because all your traffic from client will come here. That I'll tell you how the traffic flows. Then we'll talk about attack signatures management, DDoS bot. We will see HA configuration, user accounts. Then we will see API security also. Now guys, don't worry. We will see different agendas. Now today's agenda are module 1 and module 2. First one is module 1, where we will talk about setting up what is big IP first of all. Even you have learned it, that is good, but some people are new, so I have to tell them what exactly is big IP and on which operating system it is using it, and what is management plane, what is data plane, how the architecture is built of whole F5. And then we will see setting up of your F5. After that, we will talk about traffic processing objects in your F5 WAF. Like we'll talk about virtual IP, pool, security policy, and licensing part. Net. After that, we'll talk about network packet flow. Then what is profile? What is local traffic policy? And last, we'll talk about HTTP request flow. So this is the agenda for today's class. Okay, so let's go further on without delaying the things. So when I talk about my big IP architecture, first one is what is big IP, guys? That you should know. So when I talk about big IP, guys, your big IP is a product which F5 has launched in 1995. So F5 is not a product. F5 is a company. So there are many companies in market like F5, Cloudflare, Redware, Citrix, and F5 is also one of the company. This has been a product called Big IP. And in Big IP, the first product which it has introduced was LTM, that is called Load Balancer. So previously, guys, everyone was following packet-based architecture. Okay, when F5 was introduced, they have changed it to full proxy architecture. So what is the difference between packet-based architecture and full proxy-based architecture? That is important. So first product they have introduced is load balancer, and that is called local traffic manager. Next product which they have introduced is called ASM. That is a security. This is for network. There is no security in this product. When I introduce security product, they have introduced a call feature called F5 or Big IP Advanced ASM, or you can say Advanced WAF. Okay, so that was our product. So let's first talk about packet architecture. What was packet based design, and what is difference between packet based design versus full proxy architecture, because that is important. If you know the architecture, then only you can deploy different features, right? So can someone tell me which one is packet based architecture? So I'll draw a diagram. I have client 1, I have client 2, I have client 3, then I have a router, simple router. There is no load balancer. Then I have servers. So what will happen in this packet based architecture? This one is client and this one is server. So what will happen is router will receive a packet and it will transfer a packet to server. On which basis, guys, it will send a packet? Anyone? Router looks over which packet? So it looks over layer 3 packet. And in layer 3 packet, it looks over which field? So it will look over your destination IP. So that was a normal packet based design where packet by packet traffic was going on. So packet comes to router, it will check for destination IP and it will forward the same packet. So that is how packet based design came into picture. Now, if I talk about full proxy architecture, what does it include? So when I talk about full proxy architecture, you will have your client, then you will have your F5 in place, which will work as a proxy. Then you will have different server. So what will happen is, guys, there will be a system which is called F5, or you can say big IP, which will be placed as man in middle between your client architecture and your server architecture. So in this case, first, your request will be handled by F5. It will review your traffic, or I can say inspect your traffic. Router was inspecting your traffic? No. But here it will inspect, it can modify the traffic behavior. That is very, very important. So it will interact, it will see whether traffic is good or bad when I talk about WAF. So it will maintain two connection, one between client to F5, one between F5 to server. So there will be two separate layer 4 connection. One is called client side, one is called server side. So it will be segregation. So how the traffic will flow, that I'll show you. So we'll draw a picture. Here I'll have F5. Here we have client 1, client 2, client 3. Then we have server 1, server 2, server 3. So what I have said is there will be one TCP handshake between client to F5. Until this handshake is completed, there will be no handshake between this layer. So first TCP handshake will be done between client to F5. What does TCP handshake mean? So client will send a SYN packet, F5 will send SYNAC, and then client will send acknowledgement. That is called three-way handshake. After that, application data will be sent. That is the first HTTP packet that will be sent. Then there will be a three-way handshake between this to this server, F5 to servers. So by default, guys, this is very, very important. F5 is called deny device. F5 is not smart enough. By default, it will reject all the requests. So what is making it is as allow device? So that is called web. So virtual IP, guys, is nothing but your URL of your application, or I can say website. So whenever you access any website called sianets.com, there will be one virtual IP which will be assigned. So that is called virtual IP. It is a combination of your IP plus port. Your application is 443, then it will be 192.168 colon 443. So your all traffic from client will first come to your, so I'll take two clients. It will always hit your F5 virtual IP. That is called front and IP address. Very, very important, guys. All your traffic will come on hit on this IP. Then there will be different servers. So this one is your front end traffic. What is front end traffic? Front end traffic is when client wants to communicate with F5. And what is back end? When F5 is communicating with server. Where your original web application is hosted. Guys, we have done many classes, or you must have done it, where your application is hosted. When I talk about sianets.com, where this application is originally hosted, you are getting a web page on your browser, but this website is hosted on which, whether it's hosted at client side or is it hosted at server side? Please reply on the chat, because here we are talking about web application. So where is your original web application is hosted? So original web application will always host on your server. This server are called your backend server. This server are also called your web server, or some people can say app server. That is important, guys. Very, very important. Why? You need to know this, that you will come later on, but this is important. Let's go further on. This is called web or full proxy architecture. And F5 is acting as a layer 7 device or layer phone. But when I talk about WAF, WAF is acting as your layer 7 device. So that is the difference between packet based and proxy based. Now, guys, what is inside of your big IP system that is important? How the big IP system works. What is inside this device? So guys, there are two fields here in your big IP. So first one is called, there are two planes in big IP, very, very important. One is called management plane. One is called data plane. So data plane is responsible for traffic management. Like traffic is coming from client, it will hit your virtual server, then it will forward to different servers. So all this is managed by your data plane. Then why management plane is there? So management plane is responsible for certain traffic, let's say NTP traffic, DNS traffic, or there can be some, let's say you take a CLI or GUI of your F5. All this will be taken care by management plane. So it will not manage your traffic, but it will provide admin functionality. But all the traffic which is flowing from big IP or F5, then going to servers is taken care by data plane. An operating system which is run is called traffic management operating system. Like in Cisco, we have iOS. In this, we have TMOS, that is called traffic management operating system. So this is how your big IP is designed. Now I'll draw a diagram, a table which will help you to understand between these two. So here I'll have management plane. What comes under management plane in F5? And what comes under your data plane? This is your data plane. When I talk about management plane, when you take GUI, when you take CLI, or when you talk about TMSH or shell, advanced shell, that comes under your big IP administrator. But when I talk about TMOS, that is called traffic management operating system, that comes under your data plane. So all your LTM module, all modules come under this: DNS, ASM, APM. I'll talk about iRole. iRoles also comes under this. If I talk about full proxy architecture, that also comes under this. SSL engine, that is also comes under here. So what does SSL means? Your client will always access your website on HTTPS. That comes under this layer. So that is how your architecture is defined. Now, what is the difference between LTM versus advanced WAF? What is the difference? So when I talk about LTM, guys, how the architecture is. You have client, you have multiple clients connecting to F5. Then you have servers. So why we need a load balancer? Anyone? So load balancer is needed to distribute your load. Why? Because guys, you have multiple client who wants to access your website called sianets.com. In that case, my customer says that, hey Vidit, I want 24 into 7 availability of my application. I want even some of your backend server are done. I want 24 into 7 availability of my application. Second, I need security. Third, I need scalability. So for this purpose, I need a load balancer. So when I talk about load balancer, availability plus security, that is why you need a combination of LTM plus advanced WAF. So one it acting as your local traffic manager and one it is acting as your security feature, application security, which will protect from layer 7 attacks or threats. So how traffic will come? Traffic will hit here. Now F5 will decide whether it should go to server 1, server 2 or server 3. Why it is required is guys because I want equal distribution of traffic. If let's say guys, I only have one server, in that case what will be issue? Anyone? If behind F5, here I have multiple clients, thousands of clients who wants to access my website called sianets.com. But behind F5, I have only one server. What will happen, guys? Any issues will happen? So it will be overutilization. Another risk, guys. Anyone can tell me if I am saying one example I will give you. I have F5 with only one server, which is hosting my web application. But here I have multiple clients connecting to internet. All my traffic of client to F5 is forwarding to one server. What will be the risk? Why I need multiple server? First risk is overloaded. You will face slowness issues. That is the first disadvantage of having one server. Second, no redundancy. That is the two issues which you will face when you have one server. No distribution of traffic. So that is why load balancer feature has been introduced where you have multiple server to handle your same application. And how F5 will distribute your load? Sorry, it is client. So traffic will come to F5. For this client, F5 will forward to this. For this client, F5 will forward to this. This client, F5 will forward to server 3. So it will follow your load balancing algo. So that 50 request comes here, 50 client request comes here, 50 request will come here. Second thing, even this server goes down, there will be still your application will be available. Your website will still be accessible. So that is an advantage of your load balancer. Okay, now what about WAF? That is F5 Advanced ASM. What does it provides? So guys, previously client traffic was coming and it is hitting your F5. Then it was generally going to server directly. F5 was not checking any packet, correct? F5 was getting traffic and F5 was forwarding traffic based on load balancing algo. It was not checking whether this traffic is coming from client is a web attack or it's not a web attack. But when WAF comes into picture, guys, it will secure your application, this layer, by seeing all the requests, inspect your data at HTTP layer. It will check your HTTP request carefully and check whether it's a web attack at HTTP layer or HTTPS layer or not. If there is an attack coming into picture, guys, if it is not a legitimate traffic, then it will block here only. It will not allow to go to server. So you will not able to access your application, but you will also get block page. So WAF is a feature which will prevent from, which will secure your application from layer 7 attacks. So it can block the traffic based on attack signatures that we will see and other things. So if traffic is only legitimate, let's say if it's not an attack, then only F5 will forward traffic to server. So what are the two things which ASM is providing? First, availability plus security also. It will protect your application from attacks. That is called web application attacks. And where your WAF should be placed? Is it should be at network layer or at near to your web application, anyone? Where should I place my WAF device? Close to my application layer or not? Yes. So mostly WAF will be placed close to your web application layer. Okay, so it is acting as your security guard, guys, which will protect from different OWASP top 10 attacks also. That we will see differently, guys, how it will prevent, what are the different policy model, but that is how it is different. So if someone asks you what is WAF, so it is the first line of defense, you can say, between your application and internet traffic, guys. Between your application layer and internet traffic, because traffic is coming on internet. So it can monitor. So what are the things WAF will do? It will monitor your traffic or it will monitor your each HTTP traffic. That is the word which you can say. Second thing, it will filter your traffic. Third, it can block your traffic if it is malicious. Very, very important. So we will define now everything, guys, we will define it. So how traffic will come? Traffic will always come to virtual IP. That's what I told you, right? So in F5, first thing you will create a WIP, and in WIP you will have a layer 7 policy. So that are the defined set of rules that you will create, which will detect whether it's an attack or not. So there will be rules, attack signatures, which will detect whether it's an HTTP attack or not. So my WAF, so what are the three use cases of WAF? This is an interview question. So if someone asks you what are the three use cases of WAF, anyone can tell me what are the three use cases of WAF? First use case of WAF is it will protect from layer 7 attacks, or you can say OWASP top 10. Don't worry, OWASP top 10 is a separate topic where we will see like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, cookie poisoning, all this we will see. What is the other use case of WAF? Another use case of WAF is, guys, it will help from DDoS attacks. If there is a DDoS attack in your company, it can also protect from that. Also, there are many use cases, but it will also protect your geolocation. Like if I want that China location should not be able to access my website, that also you can do. That is very, very important, guys. So it is a critical security layer which will act as between your client and server. Also, some people says that WAF is a reverse proxy architecture. So if I draw a diagram, simple diagram, I'll have three client. Client 1, client 2, client 3, then I have WAF, then I have servers where your original application is hosted. Okay, now I will say client 1 traffic is not a hacker. Request 1 is safe. Traffic coming from client 2. This is the request 1. I am talking about HTTP request. Now let's say I'm just giving an example. Request 2 is unsafe. This has been generating by a hacker. Request 3 is safe. Now can anyone tell me when WAF I placed it, what it will do? It will monitor your request. First thing. Second, it will block your request and filter it. Third thing, it will create a policy. We will create a WAF policy that will be applied on your virtual IP. On that basis, it will block. Now, can you tell me there are three requests: request 1, request 2, and request 3. Which will request will go here? Out of request 1, request 2, request 3. Which request will go into my servers? Answer please. Out of request 1, request 2, request 3, which request will WAF forward to servers so that they can access my website? Answer. So answer is request 1 and request 3. This request it will block because this is treated as unsafe. Very, very important. Now, one more interview question for you all. What are the 9 methods which WAF uses? Just I'm giving you an example. This we will discuss in future classes to block malicious attacks. So WAF will apply IP intelligence. There is a feature called IP intelligence. What it will do, guys? It is the simplest method of protection. It will block your traffic coming from malicious IP. So that we will see how it will block. So it has a database where it will reply on that to identify whether IP is legal or not. Second thing I told you, geolocation enforcement. It protects from different countries, which it detects whether it's good or not. Third, DDoS attack. Fourth, it has a attack signatures database through which it will block the traffic. Fifth, it will use header inspection. Guys, when I talk about header inspection, it will detect specific HTTP request pattern and response. Where it will check for any malformed request. Or if I say user agent, whether user agent is legal or cookie value is legal. So when I talk about header inspection, what does that I mean? Very, very important. Just go here. Okay. Now, what we will do is I'll go to developer tool. I'll open this website learn.sianets.com. Now I will open more tool, developer tool. Okay, I'll refresh this page. I'll go to there is a field called network. Now I'll go to network field. Here I'll open the website. Now can you see headers here? This one is your header. So that this one is your request header. So guys, F-file will check this HTTP headers. So it will check whether the valid host is coming or not from client. It can be phishing page also. It will check that header. It will check the user agent. So user agent is your browser. What browser you are using. So here you can see user agent. It will also check for cookie, whether proper cookie is there or not. And what is the HTTP method. So what are the HTTP method? Get, post, whether customer is trying to use this valid method or someone is generating some method which will delete something. Let's say if someone is trying to delete my database, so it will send a delete method that I will block. By default, F5 will block delete method, guys. So how I can show you that? Just I'll log in into my F5. I'll go to security tab. If I go here, all the WAF applications or configuration will be done in this tab. I'll go to application security, headers and methods. By default, can you see? Your advanced WAF only allow this method, get, post and head. If it finds that someone is generating method other than this, WAF will block it. So it performs deep header inspection, guys. Now, can I give you one example? You will come to know how HTTP headers inspection is done. Very, very important, guys. Please understand this carefully. I will say get login page, then there will be HTTP 1.1. This is the version. I'll say host is learn.sianets.com. User agent. These are all header. This one is header, this one is header, this one is header. Mozilla. Then I'll say Chrome. Then I will say Safari. These are all your valid user agent. Then there is one referrer header. In referrer header, what I'll do, I'll write http avil.com. And in cookie, there is one cookie header. Cookie is just a text file which is stored in your browser. I will say PHP session ID ABCDF 1 2 3 4. Then I'll say username admin. This is what is stored in your cookie. Password. Okay, in this example, guys, are you seeing anything suspicious? Anyone, guys? Please, I want. Are you seeing anything suspicious in this request? This is called your HTTP request header. Are you seeing anything suspicious here? Guys, this is your cyber security field, application security, where will you need to understand how HTTP request works. Are you seeing anything here in this? So this referrer header website is malicious, guys. Very, very important. When you get a phishing page, guys, generally someone will add your referrer page. How you will come to know whether it's a phishing page or not? Phishing page means your user will come to know that it will think like it's a legal page, but no, it is not like a legal page. So by including a malicious referrer header, guys, your attacker, let's say I'm an attacker with it, can trick your web server. I'm talking about application server into believing that request is coming from trusted source, but it is not like that. Another thing, guys, I'll give you one more. Password is admin 123. Anything else you suspect is suspicious? So first thing is this is suspicious. What other thing is suspicious here, guys? Cookie header is also suspicious, which is called session ID. Why? Because here your username and password is in plain text. So your attacker can gain access to your web application if it is password protected. So it can gain unauthorized access to your web application, guys. So by inspecting these headers, WAF can detect malicious headers and suspicious content, and it will block your request and it will prevent the attack from succeeding. So guys, WAF is something which will inspect your body also, whole body, request body inspection. So it will examine your request body, what is coming under your HTTP request. It will also examine your query parameters that we have discussed in previous class, but don't worry, this is a separate topic, plus other elements of request to identify whether there is some potential threats or not. So it will examine each component, every byte of data to identify and block potential threats to your web application that firewall cannot do, guys. So when I say WAF examine every byte of your data with a payload. Sometimes someone try to become insert an alphanumeric character. Now, one example more to you. I have a web application which I have built that has a search feature which will allow user to search for product by entering keyword. Let's say I want to search iPhone. I want to search OnePlus phone, Nokia phone. I can search it. But attacker, how attacker can exploit this? How attacker can exploit means vulnerability. What is vulnerability, guys? Vulnerability is a weakness in your web application through which attacker can gain access. So when you are a hacker, you will always scan your web application to see if there is any weakness so that I can enter your house. In this case, attacker can exploit this feature where it will use SQL injection. So what it will do, it will send a query called select database query star from product. I'll show you this attack live where name equal to apple or 1 equal to 1. So 1 equal to 1 is always there, right? This is true. So it will make query always true and your user will able to connect to your database. So if WAF is there, it will detect this as an SQL injection attack. So that is why WAF inspect each request and analyze whole content of your query. So that was all about WAF introduction and how it is different from LTM. Okay, this initial setup we will talk about, and this one also we'll talk about in further queries. Now, guys, we have talked about big IP. Now, how big IP looks like. So, what is inside your big IP we are talking about? How many ports are there? So, when I talk about, guys, F5 Advanced WAF, it can be deployed as hardware box also, virtual box also, and it can be deployed in cloud infra also. So WAF platforms, if I talk about big IP platform, your big IP platform can be deployed as hardware module also, virtual module also, and it can be deployed as a cloud infra also. Okay. So hardware means special hardware boxes design. You can also deploy it in virtual edition. That's what we will do in the lab. Also, you can run F5 app in AWS, Azure, or Google also. Concept will be same. Now, guys, one last picture I will show you, then we will take Q&A. Just 1 minute. I'll show my screen. So this is how your F5 looks like. When I talk about hardware module, your F5 has a management port that is dedicated to access your GUI or CLI. Initially, guys, when F5 comes new, first thing you have to configure management IP. Okay, so for that, guys, what you will do, you will ask your, let's say you are in sitting in Mumbai, but your customer F5 is located in Singapore. So you will ask your data center engineer to give you a console access. So there is a dedicated console port also, so that you can configure management IP, guys. When F5 comes new, you will take a console. Second, you will configure management IP. Then there is a failover port, guys, that is used for HA when you have F5 boxes in redundancy. Then there is a USB port. USB port is used, let's say, when you have your when you have done the upgrade, but your F5 is not coming up. Your F5 is not coming up. You have to recover it. So that is where your USB port comes into picture. Now, when I talk about Ethernet port, gigabit, these are your trunk port and these are your normal port. I'll show you how it is. And you have fan, you have control ports, LCD. This will show you the status of your F5, whether F5 status is green or orange. But the main port which you need to understand is this one: management port, console port, failover port, Ethernet, and SFP. But when I talk about, guys, F5 virtual edition, By default, there are 4 ports. Admin, admin, then you will go to network tab, then interfaces. So this is how your network ports are, guys. So when I talk about F5, F5 has 4 ports. We will be using it in virtual edition, even in your production device. One is management. That port you can only see in CLI, not GUI. This is GUI of the port. How you can take GUI? By HTTPS : IP address. That we will configure it later on. Then there is one external port. Then there is one HA port. And then there is one internal port. And F5 will identify this port as this. Naming convention 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So that is how it defines, guys. Very, very important. So introduction has been done. WAF introduction has been done. So I'll have a Q&A, then we'll proceed with second module. And lab setup, guys, we will do it tomorrow. So tomorrow will be very critical. Today I will tell you what things you have to do as a homework. So you come ready tomorrow, because tomorrow will be purely dedicated WAF lab setup.